the only Magic the Gathering podcast that proves everyone should get a day off from work to celebrate Yargle Day.
Yargle Day.
Yargle Day. Did you guys play that event?
Man, when the other Dave mentioned this, I had to Google what Yargle Day was because I was like, what is he talking about?
It's Magic's greatest meme.
Stormcrow?
Well, okay. It's up there with that. Yargle's a good meme.
Stormcrow's definitely. I mean, Stormcrow's a better card.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, the event that they had, it was
fun in Yargle Day. 'Cause I played the event, and I was playing of course, the red version of it because that's. I got my 2 wins in like 5 minutes. Because both times that I played with that deck, I had a Kari Zev and a Yargle in my starting hand. And apparently a first striking menace Yargle that creates a 2/1 monkey when he attacks is just enough to make people just concede.
Yeah. So what the event was is that you play some pre-constructed decks with like 9 Yargles in it. And they give you 2 emblem abilities. One where frogs cost 2 less, which Yargle is a frog. And then the other one is whenever you play a frog, you can sacrifice another creature and add those abilities to the frog that you played.
And draw a card.
Yargle, and draw a card. And so the Yargle assimilates the abilities of the sacrifice creature, essentially, is the idea. So yeah, you would get Kari, Zev's, Menace, and First Strike, and then just turn what?
3.
Turn 3, 4? Yeah.
3. Yeah, both times it was like, all right, I played Kari Zev, I played Yargle, they conceded. Played Kari Zev, played Yargle, they conceded. I was like, wow, that was some easy experience.
Yeah, I saw people giving flyers a lot. I also did the red-black one. I didn't draw the Kari Zevs like you did. Didn't do as good. But I did have red quests that I had to complete to get coins, so that's why I did that. I found the green one a little bit better for me.
I don't know, man. First Strike Menace Yargles, apparently.
Yeah.
Even that's
flying
the key.
Yargle is important.
A little disappointed that this didn't last for longer than a day because I didn't get to check out the event. I was really busy that particular day, so didn't get to play.
I played the event one more time, I think, because I needed to cast green spells, and so I used the green one. But I got absolutely trounced in that one because they playing the white one and they got a flying lifelink Yargle, and it was just like, okay.
Guess we're done here.
A 9/3. It's funny because Yargle has no abilities by itself, just the card, and it's just a fun little thing that they made him cheaper and playable, and then you can get he's a 9/3 with a bunch of abilities.
So
that's why it's
good meme. Did the event, from what you guys played, seem balanced, or was it really just a race to go off, and that was the fun of it?
Basically, yep, and that was what was fun. It wasn't serious Magic.
I don't believe the decks were that balanced, but I also didn't see all of them, so I don't know that I ever saw the mono black one.
Yeah, I'm not sure I did either.
Which seems like it would be a pretty good one because I looked at the deck and it had a lot of lifelink and death touch in it, which seems I guess death touch isn't really all that great on a 9/3. It's kind of got death touch anyway with that kind of power,
right?
But I think I saw some menace in there too. So
but I did see a Yargle with death touch that I blocked to kill, and then it just dealt 1 damage to every single creatures, like because you can assign damage.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, that sucks.
That's how that works.
The other thing about Yargle Day is in the store they had the cosmetics for the Secret Lair cards that the Secret Lair they did before. You can get the Yargle on a Fatal Push or an Explore in place of the character on the card. It's a Yargle. It's great.
I particularly like the Sword to Plowshares style.
Yeah,
Yargle. That one looks pretty cool.
I couldn't afford the Swords to Plowshares one. It made me sad. I ran out of coins. I bought a bunch of the Dominaria stuff. I bought the stained glass lands and the braids, avatar.
So happy Yargle Day, everybody.
The stained glass lands are too pretty not to get.
They are. Really
but maybe we can talk about that later. And, the section marks Dominaria United first impressions. So, aside from...
I'm going to talk about it now.
Okay. Oh, okay. Well, I can't stop you. Aside from Yargling, what have you guys been up to this week?
Was the green one called Gargle?
It was called Gargle.
Okay.
It was called Gargle. So for me, I went to 3 pre-release events this weekend. Holy moly, I played a lot of Sealed Magic. That's cool. First night I got 3rd place. Second I got 2nd place. And third time I got 2nd place. So I thought I did pretty good. Won some free packs. That was fun. Oh, and I got all of the pre-release or the Magic 30 cards from attending all 3 events. The Sarah Angel, the Fenhorn Else, and the Ball Lightning.
Oh, cool.
Good old Ball Lightning.
So those are pretty nice get.
Yeah, the Ball Lightning's neat. That's the retro frame ones, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And they got a nice little stamp.
Nice.
The watermark is with Magic 30 watermark, I think.
Actually. Yeah. Cool. And they're foily, right?
Yep, they're foily, and it does have a stamp that says the year it was originally printed in, and it's the original version of the card. Fenhorn Else is also in German.
Cool. How about you, other Dave? What you been up to?
Absolutely nothing.
Cleaning out the arena store, sounds like.
Yeah, that's been it. Cleaning out the arena store. Spending all that gold I've been saving up. I had like 20,000 gold. Now I have like 300.
Womp womp.
But I got some stained glass lands.
Still money bags over here. Yeah, those stained glass lands do look really nice. I might have to get those ones for my collection.
I hadn't spent any gold in like months.
Yeah, I've been saving up for the historic anthology.
My original intention was to buy a bunch of packs when Dominaria came out. Then I saw the stained glass lands and the braids avatar, and I was like, nope, I guess I'm not buying any packs.
Yeah.
Guess
we're going.
Braids avatar, sweet.
Oh, and the stained glass sleeves, I bought those too.
Oh, yeah. Cool. Awesome. Unfortunately, I haven't been doing much of magicking. I logged on. I was going to do a draft because I have like a draft token sitting in the waiting, but I haven't gotten around to it. Been a busy week for me over here at the moderator household.
One could say some of the stuff that you have done has been magical.
Well, terrifying. But that's a story for another day. Y'all want to get into the news?
Sure.
All right. I don't know if you guys noticed, but a new set came out this week since the last podcast. So that's most of the news, and we're going to...
Can I correct you? It came out on Arena. It's not actually out in paper yet.
I'm sorry. I only live in the digital space because I have no friends. So what is this paper game you play? What is this paper game you speak of?
Seems like Sholdred's doing pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and people were poo-pooing it because it didn't have any ETB effects. I'm like, what are you talking about, dude?
Yeah, we talked about that beforehand, and I was like, it doesn't... Modern players are ruining Magic.
Yeah.
That's my conclusion on that. No ETB.
Okay. That seems like something we could talk about later. See, I was doing a bit.
Why are you pushing off everything that I talk about?
Because
you don't like me anymore?
I have to assert my dominance as the moderator, Dave. Since
you can't do it in actual Magic.
Since I can't win a game of Magic. Anyways, I just wanted to talk quickly about a little tangential news. Disney just announced through Polygon that they're going to launch a trading card game to compete with Magic the Gathering, and I thought it was maybe an interesting thing we could talk about for a couple of minutes.
Did it say it was going to compete with Magic the Gathering? Because I find that hard to believe.
That's what the article claims.
I was going to say, it seems pretty weird to me for them to come out and then single out Magic the Gathering. It's not like it's...
Here's the opening, the first part of the first paragraph of the article. It's Disney may be king of theme parks, streaming television, and major motion pictures, but when it comes to collectible cards, the House of Mouse must tread lightly. Magic the Gathering and Pokemon, the trading card game, have dominated the industry for years. For each billion-dollar franchise in its own, each billion-dollar franchise in its own right, Disney's power partnered with blah 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 to. It's in this article somewhere. You can cut that from.
Well, it's right on the Disney will launch a new card game to go up against Magic the Gathering and Pokemon.
That's where it was. It's in the headline.
It's the headline.
It's the headline there. Disney will launch a new card game to go up against Magic the Gathering and Pokemon. Anyways.
Well, it talks about how this is family oriented and they expect families to play together, and given Disney's track record with, cutesy little stuff, I doubt that the play is going to be as complex as Magic. I could see it being on the level of Pokemon, but not Magic. This does not concern me for Magic's future at all.
No, I'm not worried. I think that it would be an interest. I'm probably going to check it out just because I'm a fan of card games in general, and I tend to check them out when they catch my interest. So I might buy whatever their initial onboarding product is for this game.
Yeah, I think the only one that's came out that really gained any traction against being, the Magic competition or whatever is actually Flesh and Blood. But people got real cold on that when they started reprinting all the cards that were worth money. After there was a limited set that that they released, and then they were like, we're going to make this set unlimited. So people were really sour that their collection just tanked in value, which makes sense because this is a collectible card game. So if you're just going to ad nauseum reprint everything, then your people probably aren't going to be happy about that.
I feel like this happened before, like. Roughly 30 years ago when a set called Chronicles came out.
Oh, they learned their lesson after
that. I do think that Disney maybe has a chance to do something really smart here and perhaps carve out a niche or a part of the market away from, because they have so many properties they can pull from.
Yeah.
And if they build it right, it could be something like if they did like a real simple set that is, all ages, your Frozens, your, Lion Kings, and all the childish. I don't know, childish doesn't sound right, but young ages characters,
the fairy tale worlds,
to introduce the idea and the concept to people, and so they can play with their kids, and then they do kind of like a teenagery one or a young adults one, perhaps with like Marvel characters and Star Wars and those things, and introduce more complicated mechanics similar to Magic.
That could do it. Their Disney Villainous line of board games is actually pretty popular, and they are just continuing that with Ravensburger. Ravensburger helped them do that, and they're doing the card game. So they have clout and they have power behind it, plus the vast catalog of characters that people care about. But it's possible they can pull something off, carve out a little niche, but going directly against Magic, I doubt.
No, I think that they'll get a nice little niche in the market. And
I mean, all these card games tend to carve out a niche in large enough areas. The shop nearest to me, or the big shop nearest to me, has a pretty big MetaZoo. Is that following? And also the Final Fantasy card game. There's a bunch of people up there who are like really into that they have a night designated for MetaZoo, and they have a night designated for the Final Fantasy card game.
Interesting.
And if those things can do it, then if Square Enix can pull it off, Pretty sure Disney can.
Yeah, and to note, the only thing Square Enix has, the reason why Square Enix can do something like that is because of their cast of characters, which Disney has in spades. So, yeah, it's possible.
Yep. Don't you mean Disney has in Hearts? Kingdom Hearts?
Do they do anything other than Magic at either of your guys' shops?
They do Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh!
They don't even play Magic at my shop.
That's true, they don't.
They go to a secondary location. It's very top secret.
Well, this is it. It hurts, but not too bad. I really thought it would be worse. It does suck that I'll never get to be a famous mobster like in those classic movies. Oh, and I'll never get to taste that imported Zendikar crab again. Yeah, that was a real delicacy. I sure am gonna miss it. But most of all, I'm gonna miss Mo and Walter. They truly were the best friends I ever had. At least I know they're safe. The planet I saw through the portal did look pretty nice. And I think I saw some goblins on there, so maybe they'll make a friend. Someone like me. Oh, hey, there's the light. So I guess I should go towards it? It's been fun. Now, off to eternity.
Guess we'll move on to discussions then. Yeah. You guys, do first impressions of Dominaria United? Got any? I imagine Ben's got some. He's been fairly busy.
Ugh.
Ben's probably played the most of it.
Yeah.
From a limited
have wild cards to build a standard deck yet, so I've been playing historic.
I've literally played like 2 games of Magic since the set came out, and they've both been Explorer.
Any cards you guys saw play against, or you have that you played against anybody yet?
I haven't seen anything in the Explorer that was notable. Like I did like 3 games, man.
I did get a Liliana of the Veil in my first Dominaria pack in Arena.
Nice. I got one. I bought that pre-release kit, and they just gave me one for free. I didn't have to open it.
Man, I tell you, I do regret not picking up the pre-order set.
Yeah, the pre-order, yeah.
Because it's like, I want to play with some of these new cards, and didn't buy it. And now I'm like, oh, man. It's a real good deal.
It is a good deal just to do the one pre-order pack. But
what are you referring to?
It's like before the set's released on Arena, there's a $50 pack with
yeah. I'm not spending $50 on Arena.
Right. I usually buy it that each set.
You buy both of the $50 ones, or just
just the one with the cards, not the one with the draft tokens and the avatars and stuff. So okay, I can go ahead and talk about my limited experience this week. I am very impressed with the limited experience that Dominaria has. It shows the power of kicker. Like limited is like kicker central, right? It's a super powerful mechanic for limited because it gives you choices. And they did a few smart things in Dominaria to enable the kicker mechanic in limited. And that was the having dual lands, of course. That helps. I noticed that people were trying to go 3-color a lot, and those ones didn't do as well. But what I was doing was having separate lands with just the kicker cost, So I might have 3 lands with a white to pay for the various kicker cards that I have in my deck that are just white. And then if you never draw those lands, then get the kicker. But what I had to do, and of course it depends on your archetype, the dual lands come into play tapped. So you don't want that too many of those. So it's kind of like a balance. I think that if you're playing an aggro type build, you don't want to focus on putting a bunch of dual lands in there, because when I was goldfishing hands before the tournament, I ended up pulling some of the duels out because I was like, I'm getting too many of them and I'm stopping my mana curve. I'm not playing on curve well enough. So, but otherwise, I think the dual lands are helpful for just paying for kickers, right? Because a lot of times, so my first day, I did a green-white tokens style deck where there's a lot of white cards that make so many tokens. You play this card, you get a 1/1 soldier token. There's a card that was like an all-stars called Captain's Call. It costs 4 mana and you get 3 1/1 soldier tokens. That was pretty well. That did me lots of good in limited, especially when there's a white card. It's a 4/4 vigilance, and he costs 1 less for each creature you control. So you play the Captain's Call, put you at 5 creatures, then you pay 2 4/4 vigilance for 1 mana. Or however it worked out, and you're just slamming them down, and you go so wide so fast that way that it's hard for the opponent to have a footing. So that's one of the archetypes there. And I did find that there's a couple Quarion Beastcaller in that scenario. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield, you put a 1/1 counter on him. Or sorry, whenever you cast a creature spell, which the cast wording is very important on that for obvious reasons. That seems pretty important. That's a good card to have in your token deck if you're drafting or if you're playing sealed and you see that. Because when he dies, you put the 1/1 counters on a different person. It's basically got creature modular or whatever. Yep. And then the Llanowar Loam Speaker was surprisingly valuable. He costs 2 mana. He's a 1/3. He's in the mana dork, but he can add 1 mana of any color, not just green. So that can help pay for kickers. And then you can tap him to turn a land into a 3/3 with haste. Early game in limited, sometimes the player doesn't get a creature on the board till turn 3, and then you're smacking him with a 3/3 land. And also, you can turn a land into a blocker. It's a very good, I think, limited card. It really did well for me.
Yeah, anytime you can turn your lands into creatures, it's helpful and limited.
Yeah.
Because chances are you're going to end up with more lands than you really need.
Yep. You're okay with it going to the graveyard to prevent some massive damage somewhere?
Or to get in early. Yeah.
Yeah. Or not prevent, because you can only activate as a sorcery in that particular one. But yes. You're okay to get in early. Yeah. Force them to block so that you can, because the combat tricks in this set are actually pretty good too. Buff them, force them to block the land and then buff the 2/2. It worked out well. Okay, so day 2, I ended up going with a white-red build. Kind of the same idea, go wide strategy, a lot of aggro. But the thing there was there's a card called Keldon Strike Team that at first glance you might not look at this card as a decent card, but this card totally destroyed in my experience. So Keldon Strike Team is 2 and a red. It's 2 colorless and a red with a kicker of a white and a red. Or sorry, a white and a colorless. When he comes in play, you get 2 soldiers, 1/1 soldiers. And if he entered the battlefield this turn, then creatures you control have haste. So it's a 3/1. So you get 5 damage on the board that have haste, plus anything you play that turn also has haste. So not only did I have, say I had two creatures on the board, I throw 3 more down, then I'm paying for one of those 4/4 vigilance that are reduced. And then I did this all in one turn at one point. Played for the vigilance for 2 and then paid for another vigilance for 1. And I was swinging with 13 damage that turn. And 2 of them had vigilance, 4/4 vigilance. So
anything that's going to make extra bodies is almost always a brainer and limited. So no bodies or extra bodies and haste,
and it gives everything haste. So laying those 4/4s down and being able to attack and then also turn around and block because they had vigilance, that was basically game over right there as soon as I did that. I think they had one more turn and they were just like, ah. But yeah, that was a pretty good all-star. And hopefully you can take this when you're, drafting or doing your seal construction, you can kind of look at what I'm saying about these and maybe it'll help you evaluate them. The other standout in those two decks was, because I actually got her both times, the Guardian of New Benalia. Oh man, this card is so good because of the discard a card and gaining indestructible. That is so important.
It's huge and limited.
Yeah, because you can enlist something with high power. There were times where I was like putting a buff spell on a creature and then not even attacking with it, just enlisting it to this one because she just lives, right?
Right.
In combat. And the other important thing about Guardian New Benalia is you can enlist defending creatures, period. But if you enlist a defending creature with a 0 power that you don't need, you can still scry 2 with her. So I did that a couple times, and it was very, very helpful to be able to scry 2, even if I wasn't buffing her power.
Right.
So that's the aggro archetypes in the format. I did want to point out a couple other cards that I didn't actually use but had used against me, and it was very bad. Impede Momentum. Holy moly, it's the tap target creature and put 3 stun counters on it, and then scry 1. That card, that's not only is it a great limited card, but that's going to be an all-star all around the board forever in constructed play. I think you're going to see that everywhere because it just shuts your guy down for 4 turns.
Have you
I
guys?
believe that. Yeah.
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 You haven't seen that in your play? It's not leaking in Historic you've seen yet?
I haven't seen it. No.
I haven't seen it, no.
I do expect to see it, though.
Yeah, I would think that it would be a really good card to
the other thing, I didn't use it, but the Urborg Lorgoyf, multiple people used, and they did not sound impressed. So I did run a report that they all said it wasn't really performing for me. And that's in a limited sense, but I expect that to kind of...
Like that. Underperforms. The Lorgoyf underperforms.
Yeah.
I believe someone called that.
I don't know who it was. I guess we'll never know.
All right. So my last deck was a blue-black control deck.
Ooh.
I had, in my pre-release pack, got a Liliana the Veil. Crazily enough, over all 3 days, there were about 7 Liliana the Veils floating around, which is a mythic level. That's kind of high, I think. And I know it's a short, it's a small pool.
And this was all from one card shop. You didn't travel the countryside playing different card shops?
Correct. It was all from one card shop. And the third day, 3 people opened that. Well, then from the same box of release packs. Yeah. So I'm concerned that there are going to be a lot of these Liliana the Veils floating around. I expect, I don't know. If I wanted to make a prediction, I'd say she'd hit $20, like low end. Because when the collectors come out, the collector's packs come out and people are chasing those legends. If she's that common, there's going to be so many, or that common for Mythic, right? You're going to go. I didn't see any Karn Silex or anything like that.
No popcorn bowls, man.
No.
Bummer.
But yeah, I opened her in my pre-release pack, so I built a blue-black control. That's one I got second place with. It was pretty good. I ended up losing in the finals to another deck who had a Liliana, but also had a Sulkanar, the Swamp King. So he got 2 Mythos in his pre-release pack, and it was like womp, womp, womp. Yeah. Things that performed well in that, for me, Phyrexian Warhorse, that was a banger.
You mean Blightmare?
Yeah, Blightmare. He has White Kicker. When Phyrexian Warhorse enters the battlefield, it was kicked. Create a 1/1 white soldier creature token. Pay 1, sacrifice another creature. Phyrexian Warhorse gets +2/+1 until end of turn. At one point, I went to combat. I attacked with combat and buffed him, sacrificing one of my creatures, and then threw down it was dragged to the bottom. It's like a -X for each type of land you control.
Mm-hmm.
+1. Each creature gets it. So because I was able to buff him over the 3 types of basic lands that I had, he ended up living, whereas the one I sacrificed would have died. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I sacrificed it to the Blightmare. Yeah. So there's like cool interactions you can do with that, and he ended up performing really well. I had a Raven Man in my deck. I ended up siding him out frequently because he just wasn't really performing in limited.
You're
right.
Not going to have the consistent kind of stuff to make him. Because you can only do the discard thing as a sorcery, right?
Yeah, I think so.
If you could do it as an instant, it would change.
It might be
good he is in limited. But
it is only as a sorcery, yep.
Yeah, because late game you wouldn't be able to. They would just play whatever they drew.
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't be able to make him discard. You wouldn't be able to get the token. He would just be a 1/2.
Right.
Or whatever it is. Yeah. I can see he probably is not great in limited.
Yeah. Other than that, they have a cycle of cards which saw a lot of play overall and did well for people. They basically cost 1 less to cast for something. The white one was for each creature you control, and the black one is 1 less to cast for each creature in your graveyard. And I think they're all 5/5s, except the Vigilance one's a 4/4. But the 5/5 has Death Touch, and he was an all-star in my black deck. I think there's a blue one that's a 5/5 for each instant or sorcery in your graveyard, maybe. But that was pretty good for people. Saw that played a lot. Yeah, limited looks fun.
Question: Did you see a lot of Impulse cast?
The one draw top 4, or look at the top 4, pick one, put the rest on the bottom.
Yeah, the anticipate that's 4 cards deep.
Yep,
I was really stoked when I seen that one come out. It came out in Visions, and I didn't remember that.
Yeah,
I thought it was a new card, and I was like, "Oh my god!"
And in my blue black control deck, that helped me find my answer multiple times.
Yeah,
because digging 4 deep is great.
We all like to dig.
Anyway. That was my limited experience. Overall, I really liked it. I thought it was more smooth, and this was the general consensus with everybody I talked to there. It was more smooth than the new Capenna sealed experience and the Kamigawa experience. So I think that has a lot to do with kicker, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's very powerful.
I seen
smooth things out.
Somebody on the internet complaining that it was too easy to go 5 colors and just do 5 color good stuff. In your opinion, is that an accurate assessment or nay?
I think it is easy to go 5 colors and to get 5 different colors of land on the board to pay for domain, but every single person that won first place did not have 5 colors. And probably top 3. I think like the guy that won third place or first, each third place person, I think had maximum of 3 different colors for domain. Yeah. And so I don't know if it's that good or what, but when you say it's easy to go 5 colors, it is because you have the dual lands, but they come into play taps. So you better have a mid-range game to combat like more aggro stuff in order to do that. So it's probably pretty balanced, I think.
Okay. I guess the exact assertion was that you're not punished for going 5 colors because the 2 color decks aren't quick enough to like.
Oh, that is not true.
Aren't quick enough to get you before you get to 5 colors.
Yeah, before you get to 5 colors, but what are you going to do with the 5 colors? Because you can get to 5 colors in 3 turns.
Drop that 10/10 tree folk guy or whatever, the Moro
right
sorcerer.
That you have one of in your deck, and it might get you a win one time, or they can just bone splinters it by sacrificing their 1/1 and destroying target creature. Yeah, it's I don't think that I think somebody got mad about it and then got beat by it one time and got pissed about it. I think it's pretty balanced, honestly.
I mean, it probably depends on your card pool and your probably your draft classes or your people you're drafting with too. Like, if you can get the 5 color good stuff, you probably can pull it off if you can get the right cards, because you can still you'll have access to each color's removal, which is huge.
Mm-hmm.
But you're gonna have to you're going to have access to everything that you need, which means in a draft, you're going to have to be drafting with people who don't know what they're doing. Or in limited, you're going to hope that you have what you need in your pack. So yes, maybe it is easier to go 5 colors, but you still need a base card pool to pull it off.
Right.
Which you're probably not getting, but maybe you get lucky and you do get it.
Interesting. Okay. Next question I'm interested in. Mm-hmm. How many times did people own you with Temporal Firestorm?
0. I didn't even see the card at all.
Damn.
Well, I mean, it's a rare.
Yeah.
I would 100% if I saw that in a pack, I would draft it. I can tell you that. Like in a draft format, that's a full wipe.
Right. I guess it would depend on if you were going to go, in a draft format. At that point, you wouldn't know what you would go. Yeah.
If I was 3 packs in and I wasn't,
and you keep it away from everybody else if you are going aggro.
Right. But if I'm first pack and there's a Temporal Firestorm in there, unless there's some kind of bomb in the uncommon section, I'm going Temporal Firestorm.
Yeah, just you draft it early on if you were not locked in solidly into a color.
Oh yeah, and definitely limited because you're getting up to that mana no matter what. I don't see you dying before you can board wipe.
For 9, save your money.
No, probably not. You could die before 9, yes.
But I mean, for 5, you can put yourself in a really good place.
Oh, absolutely. Yep.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's limited. Getting to 7 is not unreasonable. So late game, you can put yourself in an even better place. Really, 9 is not unreasonable and limited. You just kind of don't want to get it that late. But even if you do get it that late, you get to save 2 of your creatures and probably board wipe. You're still probably winning the game.
Oh, and just real quick, the last thing about my limited experience, Liliana's really good at limited.
I think it would be safe to say that she's really good everywhere.
Yeah. But for obvious reasons, everybody's played with Liliana or whatever. So
everybody knows how she works.
Yep.
There's no learning curve there.
There was at one point where I pilfered somebody's hand and saw they had a captain's call, which makes the 3/1/1 white tokens. And then I saved my counter target or my negate counter target non-creature spell for that, countered it, and then laid the Liliana, because if you get enough creatures on the board, Liliana's worthless. So I was like, this is the perfect hand for whatever you got in your hand. So
I'm curious to see how Liliana plays out in this standard, because she's very, in modern, you can windmill drop her at 3 and it's fine. I'm not sure you can just slam her down turn 3 in the standard.
No, I even in limited, I found that I had to wait for the right time to put her down. Yeah.
And so is she gonna be as good when she's not a turn 3 drop? Yeah, because like that's her whole
right.
The whole reason that she's as good as she is because she's a 3-mana planeswalker that has an effect on board state.
Yep.
Yeah.
The 3 mana isn't as relevant if you're waiting until turn 6 to cast her.
I can agree with that. So it'd be interesting to see. I know people are losing their mind. People are saying that, Wizards made a mistake by putting her in standard, and it's going to be, the most degenerative standard and all this other stuff.
Wizards making a mistake is not news.
Right. Yeah. Whether it actually is. I do think that going forward, you will see a red deck finally in standard, that like a red deck win style deck with this new stuff.
Speaking my language.
Bring back RDW.
But I do think Boros aggro is going to be also good. It was good before, but
I just want RDW. I don't care about the other colors.
I'm not sure it'll be top tier. Well, that remains to be seen, but I do think it will have a good presence in the meta.
You'll have some legs.
Because like the big thing you got to think about is what you've lost. And one of the things that you've lost is multicolored mana consistency, like faster mana consistency, because the pathways are gone. So now all you got is the slow lands and then the pain lands.
And then the new tap duels.
Yeah, tap duels, which nobody will well, you might see them in occasional places, but the pain lands, because the tap duels are enemy colors too, and the pain lands are the pain lands are enemy colors, and the tap duels are both. They're both allied and enemy colors.
Mm-hmm.
So,
were either of you playing standard when Puppy Blade was in standard?
Puppy Blade?
Mm-mm.
No,
it's a more recent. It's a Winota standard.
Oh no, I was
before
not.
She got. So there was a dog that searched for 2 other dogs, and then obviously Winota. And so if you end up with 3 dogs on the board in Winota and an Ember Cleave was basically.
I wonder if that was the blade. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was nasty. That was the only time I was okay splashing white in to make my aggro deck.
Puppy Blade.
With Puppy Blade.
Sounds so innocent yet so threatening all at the same time.
I just imagine a little husky, because one of the dogs looks like a husky, running at you with an Ember Cleave in his teeth.
Yeah, in his teeth.
Okay, so I had a dog that was like part husky, part Labrador Retriever, and one day he comes in the living room holding a knife to like a toy kitchen set for my kids, like in his mouth, and I'm like, look at my wife, and she's like, dog's got a knife, and she goes, that's good. Maybe he'll be able to use it if we ever get in a zombie apocalypse situation. And I just look at her. I was like, I don't know what to say. And she's like, so he could stab him, you know?
I don't know. That sounds dangerous. Dog running around with a knife.
It was hilarious. I think I might have a picture of it.
Yeah.
The original Puppy Blade. Yeah. So are we done? Have we impressed our first impressions yet? Done? You guys good?
Yeah.
Want to add anything? I don't really feel like I can add anything. So
to tie it all up, I really like this set, and it does feel like when I was doing limited, it was more understandable than the past 2 experiences I've had with limited recently.
Mm-hmm.
It was just very straightforward.
I have some draft tables. I'm going to draft sometime soon. Whenever I have the time.
Yeah, because I think the problem with New Capenna was there was just too many multicolored stuff everywhere, and you're like, I'm not sure what. The abilities went between 2 colors, like in a weird way. It wasn't as unified, I don't think. It was too spread out and split.
You ended up being like, do I do the red-black sacrifice deck splash blue?
Yeah.
Or do I do the red-black sacrifice deck splash green? Like, what do I
can get this alliance trigger from this green guy in my, Grixis colored, or not Grixis, Jund color deck, or I can go and do white, green, and get, it was just too spread out, I think.
Yeah.
Not enough of one type.
Busy.
But this is good.
Hey.
I'm excited for the set and excited to see how standard shakes out.
Say what you want about New Capenna. It was still a better draft format than Baldur's Gate Alchemy. And I will
fair.
Die on that hill. Anyways, this has been your first look at Dominaria United. I'm going to issue a challenge to you guys. One I think I might fare a little better at it, because maybe I'm just not good at brewing. We'll see. But my challenge is we're going to take the precons that everybody gets in Arena, and we're going to randomly select one for each of us. Maybe I'll spend the next week crafting a little Wheel of Fortune wheel that we can spin on live on camera, or more realistically, maybe Ben will just do a
number generator or something.
Number generator.
Yeah, like a random number roller.
And we'll select our decks randomly, and then we'll play them.
Yeah,
live.
2 out of 3.
2 out of 3 next week on the Twitch channel, and we'll see who is in fact the best pilot, because that's what this challenge is all about. Who's the best player, not the best brewer.
Sounds good to me. That'll be a nice fun.
I'm looking forward to it. Although, there are some variances in those decks. So
you just starting to build doubt now for your inevitable loss.
Beat you.
I was trying to give you an out, sir. trying to give you a chance to save face. Okay, so
and maybe just this will help people getting into Arena a little bit. You know, they watch it, they can say, "Oh, I already have this deck, and that looks like a pretty good deck." So it's not completely, yeah. This will show a lot of stuff, I think.
Mm-hmm. Plus, these are the new ones that they retro fitted for rotation when Baldur's Gate came out. So take a little peek at the new stuff. All right. Well, I think we should wrap this show up. Why don't you tell everyone where they can find us, Ben?
You can find us on Twitter at MPGPod. You can find me on my personal Twitter at BeNiceMPG. Where can they find you, moderator Dave?
Oh, well, they can find me on the Twitter Spaces at Dave_MPG. And where are you currently located at, other Dave?
I'm in Nebraska.
What?
Yeah.
How'd you get to Nebraska?
Well, someone was going to Nebraska, and I thought it was in the right direction. I got it mixed up with Nevada, and so I'm in Nebraska.
Public school system has failed you.
You don't need to come up with an elaborate lie. We were talking about popcorn last week, and he was like, "I gotta go."
Oh, the corn.
The Corn Palace of Nebraska and get some of the really good popcorn.
The watermelon popcorn.
Yeah. Not a bad idea.
There is good popcorn here. Not gonna lie.
They have that kettle corn, slightly sweet.
I do like kettle corn. Well, I can't eat popcorn personally. I'm basically a dead man walking. So, but I'm glad you guys enjoy it, especially the watermelon kind.
Yeah. Send us your favorite type of popcorn in an email at podcast@magicprovinggrounds.com or any other questions. Famous cards or favorite cards from Dominaria. Cool things you've seen.
Tales from the pre-release. Good stuff. Anyways, that's the end of the show. Cue the music. All right, you guys ready?
Yep.
3, 2, 1. Welcome to Magic the Gathering.
Do that every week.
I know, every week, man. It's like, no, that's not the name of the podcast. Well, welcome to Magic Proving Gowns. Welcome to Magic
Proving Gown.
Proving gowns.
Proving Gowns.
You don't see what's under this.
Ball gowns and
Hey, man, I just want
to gowns.
I just want to feel pretty.